Have you ever forgiven someone, only to watch them disrespect you again? Have you ever looked back and realized that every time you gave another chance, the other person simply learned that there would be no consequences? And what if the real problem wasn't their behavior, but your willingness to tolerate it? Most people misunderstand forgiveness. They think forgiveness means allowing people back into their lives. They think being kind means accepting whatever treatment they receive. They believe taking the high road requires becoming a doormat. But the Stoics saw things differently. They understood that peace does not come from excusing bad behavior. It comes from understanding it, learning from it, and refusing to let it happen again. Today, we're going to explore 7 disrespectful acts that should never be forgiven in the sense of being forgotten, ignored, or repeatedly tolerated. Because some actions reveal a person's character more clearly than any words ever could. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why protecting your dignity is not cruelty, it's wisdom. Let's begin. The first disrespectful act is public humiliation. Imagine this. You're sitting among friends, co-workers, or family members. Everything seems normal. Then someone makes a joke at your expense. Everyone laughs, you force a smile, but deep down, something feels wrong. The comment wasn't playful, it wasn't harmless. It was designed to lower your status while elevating theirs. This is one of the oldest forms of disrespect. People who humiliate others in public are often seeking validation through dominance. The Stoics believed that a person's character is revealed, most clearly when they possess power over someone else. When someone intentionally embarrasses you in front of others, they're showing exactly how much they value your dignity. You don't need revenge. You don't need drama. But you do need memory. Forgive internally if you wish. Release the anger, yet never forget what they revealed about themselves. Because repeated humiliation is never an accident. It's a pattern, and patterns matter. The second disrespectful act is betrayal after loyalty. Few things hurt more than helping someone when nobody else would, supporting them, defending them, standing beside them during difficult times, only to discover they were willing to abandon you the moment it benefited them. This kind of pain cuts deeply because it attacks trust itself. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that people act according to their nature. The mistake isn't that betrayal exists. The mistake is believing someone incapable of it after they've already shown signs. If someone repeatedly sacrifices your well-being for their convenience, pay attention. Loyalty is valuable because it's rare, and those who casually betray it rarely change overnight. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this exploration of Stoic wisdom, consider subscribing to the channel, because the later points become even more powerful, and one of them may completely change how you view forgiveness forever. Now let's continue. The third disrespectful act is deliberate dishonesty. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone occasionally hides uncomfortable truths. But there is a difference between human imperfection and intentional deception. When someone knowingly lies to manipulate your perception of reality, they are not simply withholding information. They are attempting to control your understanding of the world, and that is profoundly disrespectful. A lie says something important. It says, I don't trust you with the truth. But even worse, it says, I value my agenda more than your right to make informed decisions. The Stoics valued truth because truth creates freedom. Without truth, wise judgment becomes impossible. If someone repeatedly lies while expecting your trust, they're asking for something they haven't earned, and wisdom demands that trust be based on evidence, not hope. The fourth disrespectful act is abandoning you when you need them most. Life has a way of revealing people, not during celebrations, not during success, but during hardship. When everything is going well, support is easy. Almost anyone can stand beside a winner. The real test comes when circumstances become uncomfortable, when you're struggling, when you're grieving, when you're facing uncertainty. Many people disappear precisely when their presence matters most, and while nobody is obligated to solve your problems, consistent abandonment reveals something important. It reveals the limits of their commitment. The Stoics taught that adversity exposes reality. Hardship removes masks. It strips away appearances. What remains is truth. Remember who was absent during your storms, not to become bitter, but to become wise. The fifth disrespectful act is constant disrespect, disguised as honesty. Have you ever met someone who says, "I'm just being honest," then proceeds to insult, criticize, and diminish everyone around them? They hide cruelty behind the language of truth. But genuine honesty seeks understanding. It seeks clarity. It seeks growth. Cruelty seeks superiority. There is a difference. A person who repeatedly tears you down under the excuse of honesty is often less interested in helping you improve and more interested in feeling powerful. The Stoics valued directness, yet they also valued virtue, and virtue requires self-control. Words can build, words can guide, words can heal, but words can also destroy. When someone repeatedly chooses destruction, believe what their behavior is telling you. Their intentions may not be as noble as they claim, and here's where things become even more interesting, because the next disrespectful act is one that many people tolerate for years without realizing the damage it causes. The sixth disrespectful act is treating your boundaries as obstacles. A boundary is one of the simplest statements in the world. It says, "This is what I will accept," and "This is what I will not accept." Healthy people respect boundaries even when they don't like them. Disrespectful people view boundaries as challenges. They push, they test, they negotiate. They guilt trip, they pressure. They repeatedly cross lines and then act surprised when consequences appear. Why? Because every successful violation teaches them something. It teaches them that your boundaries are optional. The Stoics understood that self-respect requires limits. Without limits, resentment grows. Without limits, exploitation becomes inevitable. Someone who consistently ignores your boundaries is communicating a dangerous message. My desires matter more than your comfort. And that message should never be ignored. Now, the seventh disrespectful act may be the most important of all. Repeated disrespect after you've already addressed the issue. Think about that carefully. Everybody deserves grace. Everybody deserves a chance. Misunderstandings happen, mistakes happen, but once you've clearly communicated the problem, everything changes. Now they know, now they're aware, now they understand the impact of their actions. If the behavior continues afterward, it is no longer ignorance. It is choice, and choices reveal priorities. Many people spend years hoping someone will eventually become who they wish they were. But the Stoics focused on reality, not potential, not fantasy. Reality, repeated disrespect after clear communication, is one of the strongest indicators that someone values their habits more than they value the relationship. And that realization can be painful, but it can also be liberating. Now here's the deeper lesson hidden beneath all 7 of these acts. Stoicism does not teach hatred. It does not teach revenge. It does not teach bitterness. In fact, it teaches the opposite. You can forgive internally. You can release anger. You can stop carrying resentment. You can wish people well. But none of those things require you to surrender your self-respect. This is where many people become confused. They think forgiveness and access are the same thing. They are not. Forgiveness is internal. Access is earned. Trust is earned. Respect is earned. Someone can be forgiven and still lose the privilege of closeness. Someone can be understood and still be kept at a distance. Someone can receive your compassion without receiving another opportunity to harm you. That distinction changes everything, because true wisdom isn't found in endlessly giving second chances. It's found in recognizing when another chance simply becomes permission. The Stoics understood that protecting your peace is not selfish. Protecting your dignity is not cruel. Protecting your boundaries is not weakness. It is the responsibility you owe yourself. At the end of your life, people will treat you according to the standards you consistently enforce, not the standards you occasionally mention, not the standards you secretly hope for. The standards you live by. So remember this: forgive if it brings you peace. Release anger if it frees your mind, but never ignore what repeated disrespect is trying to teach you, because every act of disrespect carries a lesson. and wisdom begins the moment you finally decide to learn it. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time,